All right, let's get right into it. Today, we are breaking down the mindset of a man who many call the toughest man alive, a guy who literally turned suffering into a superpower. His name is David Goggins. We're going to look at exactly how he did it, and maybe, just maybe, see what his story tells us about our own limits. So this idea right here, this is basically the foundation of the entire Goggins philosophy. It's not about running from pain, it's about running towards it. He sees every single hardship not as a setback, but as a chance to get stronger. It's the lens he sees the whole world through, and you have to get this to understand the rest of his story. I mean, just look at this contrast. The scale of this transformation is absolutely staggering. On one side, you've got a guy who's almost 300 pounds, haunted by his past, working a job spraying for cockroaches. And on the other side, a Navy SEAL, an elite athlete, a master of mental toughness. The difference is just, it's night and day. So that brings us to the big question, right? How does that even happen? This wasn't some magic pill. It wasn't an overnight success story. It was a brutal, painful, and very deliberate process of tearing down an old identity to build a new one. And to really understand it, we've got to go all the way back to the beginning. Okay, so this first part is all about the foundation. Because David Goggins' insane mental strength wasn't built in a weight room or on a running track. No, it was forged in the fire of a really, really traumatic childhood. Yeah, this list it's honestly harrowing. From a super young age, Goggins went through things that would just completely break most people. He dealt with the tyranny of an abusive father, constant ugly racism, and he struggled with severe learning disabilities that came from all that toxic stress. It got so bad he had to cheat his way through school just to get by. He felt like he had no other choice. And the result of all that trauma wasn't some hero in the making. Not at all. It was a young man who was totally lost, simmering with insecurity and rage, and just drifting through life. He was basically running from his own story, just accepting a mediocre life because he couldn't imagine anything else was possible. But every great story has a turning point. And for Goggins, it came when he was at his absolute rock bottom. This was the moment that would become the crucible for the rest of his life. So picture it. He's working a dead-end job, spraying for cockroaches every night, weighing nearly 300 pounds. He's watching TV and sees a documentary about Navy SEALs and their infamous training, Hell Week. And right there, in that moment, something just snaps. He decides that's what he needs, the absolute hardest thing he could possibly find. What happened next was just a blur of pure, raw intensity. See, to even get a shot at SEAL training, he had to lose over 100 pounds in less than 3 months. I mean, think about that. He dropped 35 pounds in the first month, somehow broke through a plateau, and lost another 35 in the second, and then got rid of the final 30 pounds. It was a complete, all-out assault on his body and his lifestyle. And get this, what makes this even more unbelievable is that he'd quit before. He had actually dropped out of Air Force training years earlier because he was terrified of the water. This time, he didn't just face his fears, he dove headfirst into them. He ended up going through not 1, not 2, but 3 hell weeks to finally become a Navy SEAL. So the big question is, how? How did he do it? What actually changed in his head? Well, this next section is all about the mental tools he created for himself, these frameworks he literally forged in the hell he chose to go through. Okay, his first tool is something he calls the accountability mirror. It's simple, but it's brutal. Instead of blaming anyone else or making excuses, he would literally stand in front of a mirror and call himself out on his own weaknesses, his own failures. It's about taking 100% ownership with just ruthless honesty. Next up, we have the cookie jar. And no, it's not what it sounds like. When he's in a moment of absolute agony and wants to quit, he mentally reaches into this cookie jar filled with all of his past victories, every single time he overcame something terrible. Each memory is a cookie, proof that he's been through hell before and survived. It's the fuel that keeps him going. Now, this is probably his most famous idea. Goggins has this belief that most of us are only ever living at about 40% of what we're actually capable of. This quote just nails it. The 40% rule is the idea that when your brain is screaming at you, telling you to stop, that you're totally exhausted and have nothing left, you've actually got 60% more in the tank. Your mind is designed to quit way before your body is. His entire philosophy is about learning to shut that voice down and push past that barrier.
Okay, but we gotta look at this from every angle because as inspiring as this is, the Goggins approach, well, it's pretty polarizing. It's not for everyone, and it comes with some serious criticisms and even dangers that we need to talk about.
And this is really the Goggins paradox. On one hand, yeah, his methods build unbelievable discipline and mental toughness. But critics are quick to point out, and they're right, the very high risk of burnout and physical injury. A no excuses mindset can be really damaging for someone dealing with mental health issues or facing barriers they can't control. It's a philosophy that, by its very nature, completely lacks balance.
So, with all that in mind, what is the real secret here? What's the engine that actually drives this entire mindset? Well, it's probably not what you think. In an interview, Goggins said this, and it is so powerful. He's not chasing a reward. He's not motivated by the carrot. His entire system, his whole life, is fueled by the stick, the pressure, the discomfort, the thing you want to run away from.
And that right there, that is the core secret. Motivation comes and goes, passion is fickle. For Goggins, the real engine for growth is friction. It's the act of deliberately, consistently doing things that you hate, things that you dread. It's that constant resistance that forges a will that can't be broken. Now, what's completely wild is that neuroscience is actually starting to back this up. There's this part of your brain, the anterior mid-cingulate cortex, and it's basically the willpower center. Well, research is showing that it literally grows. It gets bigger when you voluntarily do things you find difficult. Not things that are hard but you like, but things you genuinely do not want to do. Goggins basically biohacked his own brain through pure, relentless effort. And all of this leads to one final question for you. Goggins' story isn't really about running ultramarathons or being a Navy SEAL. It's a testament to the power of embracing friction. And it forces us all to ask ourselves, what is that one hard thing, that thing you dread doing, that you consistently push off? Because if David Goggins is any example, that very thing might just be the key to unlocking a level of potential you never knew you had.